when the annual fee comes due, you have basically three options. I think people oftentimes face that dilemma that you're talking about, but they don't realize that they actually have these options. The first is that you can ask your bank to either A, waive the annual fee for another year, or give you a customer retention offer. And different banks in different scenarios, depending on how valuable of a customer you are to them, will often do that.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. There are challenges at every turn when it comes to managing a private practice. With Alma, clinicians get the support they need to focus on what matters most, delivering great mental health care. When you become a member at Alma, you'll get credentialed with major insurance payers in less than 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. Plus, you can take advantage of HIPAA-compliant EHR tools like intake forms, progress notes, and treatment planners. Visit helloalma.com/Kim to learn more. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. Super excited to have our guest today, Elliot Rosenberg, here with us. So he's not a therapist, but he's got a really cool story. Usually, Elliot, we have therapists that are guests that are traveling the world as nomads, and we talk about that. Right. But occasionally, I like to have
a patient of therapists.
So okay, well, we that.
Yeah.
We like that. Occasionally, I'll just bring other guests on that have really cool stories and information to share, and yours is one of them. So I'm really excited to have you here today. Could you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do and what qualifies you to be on this Traveling Therapist Podcast as a nomad?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Kim. This is really exciting. So I'm Elliot. I'm the founder of Hack My Honeymoon. And though we have honeymoon in the name, we help non-honeymooning couples as well.
That was going to be my first question.
Yeah, we help people to get luxury flights and hotels for pennies on the dollar using credit card points in a way that is financially responsible, builds their credit score with time, and saves them lots of hassle and confusion and headache.
Oh my gosh, I've got so many questions. Now, first, could you tell us a little bit about your bio? Because when I read it, I was like, this is so cool. You've been in like so many countries and lived in different places. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Like your last, 11 years or something, I think it said? You've been all over.
Yeah, definitely. I've probably spent, about 13 years of my life living outside of the U.S. I'm from LA originally, but I have lived in a few different countries, have traveled extensively to about 40 different countries, and that has largely been funded with credit card points.
Amazing.
And airline miles that I have earned, not because I'm a rich big spender, but because I learned about 10 years ago how to hack the system.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear all about this.
And going back to the genesis of that was that I was actually living in Brazil running a very different travel business at the time, about 10 years ago. And I got very jealous of my customers who were oftentimes traveling around Latin America, the world. And I was in one place. It was an incredible place, Rio de Janeiro, if you've ever visited.
No.
But I wanted to have the experience of waking up every day and something being new and exciting. And while I had definitely traveled at that point, I had never really experienced that. that
Yeah.
concept of just constantly moving and experiencing novelty everywhere I went. And I was probably similar to a lot of like mid-20s American Western people wanting to travel a lot, but not being able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And I stumbled across this world, this concept of travel hacking, which can mean lots of different things to different people. But the area that I got attracted to was the idea of using points earned from your everyday expenses from spending on credit cards and then maximizing them for the most travel to the most places and the coolest experiences. And for whatever reason, that really resonated deeply with my soul.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I just dove really deep into it. And I ended up leaving Brazil and taking a backpack to 17 countries over 15 months.
Wow.
In Asia, which is a part of the world I had never visited before, wanted to really maximize the novelty aspect of it for myself. And that was largely funded by the points that I earned from credit cards. And I was really able to to have these incredible lifelong memories, traveling by myself, but also having some friends come and travel with me along the way. And that ultimately led me to India, where I am right now. I'm in a place called Goa, India, which is like coastal beach state that has a lot of really great nature and culture. And after I got to India about 9 years ago, I kept traveling, even though I was working in a completely unrelated space. And along the way, my friends saw my travels, family knew what I was doing, and I was able to start helping others to take advantage of the same things that I was doing and help people to plan trips, to plan honeymoons. And ultimately, I ended up meeting my now wife in India about 4-ish years ago. And we were able to travel even before we got married for about 3 months around the world. And then I proposed, we got married, and we had a honeymoon. And I was able to take us to the Maldives for our honeymoon and stay in one of those Instagrammable overwater villas where you are in like a luxury bungalow surrounded by the ocean. You can just jump or climb down from your deck into crystal clear waters and snorkel around with the fish and rays and reefs.
Oh my gosh. That is, I don't know. I don't know if everybody's got that on their bucket list, but I definitely do. Every time I see one of those, I'm like, I'm going there one day. Yeah. So I want to talk about like how you got there. I dabble in the credit card thing, like free flights. And one day, one of my credit cards upgraded me to like first class just randomly. And ever since then, I've obviously been hooked on like business class and first class. It's like, how do you ever go back and fly like economy when you could hack this and fly like way more comfortable? So that's my current obsession is like, how can I get enough points to be able to fly all over the world first class?
And the great thing is it's actually a lot easier than most people think. It doesn't need to be a big hassle or stress, and you don't need to be rich to do it. You could be middle class person in the US as long as you're financially responsible and you don't get a credit card and spend more on it just because it's a shiny piece of plastic and it's funny money. It doesn't really come out of your pocket. That's not true. So as long as you're not in that category, then it's really accessible to the average middle class person.
Amazing. So could you walk us through, we don't want all your secrets, but maybe you could walk us through like a simple way somebody could get started with this if they're not using credit card points to like the maximum capacity. Like maybe give us some tips and tricks and maybe your favorite card that you recommend.
Sure, definitely. I'd say that first at a high level, like we need to just get some of the disclaimers out of the way. One, you need to be financially responsible. You need to be someone who does not spend beyond their means. And you need to probably start off with a 700 plus credit score.
Yeah.
So you don't need perfect credit, but you need decent credit. And really critically are two things. One, you need to always pay off your credit card in full and on time every month. Otherwise, all of the interest and fees that will be charged to you are not going to make all the points and rewards that you get worth it. And you'll get trapped in debt. And that's absolutely something we don't want to do. Yeah. And then the second thing is that you need to be confident that you're not going to spend any more money than you normally would on a credit card just because you're getting tricked into earning points from it. And the math ultimately isn't working out. So let's get that out of the way. And then assuming that's the case, really the first thing is to start with what are your travel goals? Are you trying to fly domestically? Are you looking to go in international business first class flights? Do you want to stay in like cute, cheap homestays? Do you want to stay in 5-star luxury resorts on private islands? That all is something that requires a little self-reflection. And then another aspect is just, are you someone who is willing to be flexible and patient with your travel plans? Because unfortunately, this generally doesn't work for people who are really rigid in saying, I need to go to ABC itinerary on XYZ dates. And if I can't do that, then I don't want to go. There's like a different mindset that works better here, especially when it comes to using your points for flights, and that's chasing the deals or letting the deals pick you, as opposed to saying that I need to go to this destination on this date. Especially if you want to fly in first or business class, long haul international flights. So starting with that sort of self-reflection and honesty with yourself, which I think therapists should be pretty good with. I would hope so. Yeah.
You'd be. No, I'm just kidding.
Then the next step is putting in place like a points earning strategy. And really the easiest way for most people to earn a lot of points quickly is to sign up for new cards that have big welcome bonus offers on them.
Yeah.
And a single welcome bonus offer could give you more points than you would earn in an entire year of just spending on an existing card that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always wonder about that because my credit score's fine and I can open a credit card anytime I want to, but then I get hooked in that mindset. Okay, now I've met this bonus. I've got this bonus. Now do I switch to another card to get that bonus, or do I keep building on this card as a loyalty type, member? Like I always struggle with that.
Sure. The reality is that decision is going to be very specific to each person. I can tell you that over the past 10 years, I have opened 92 credit cards.
Gotcha.
But I don't advocate for most people to do that. That's extreme. My credit score is 800 plus, so that's not an issue. And that's something that a lot of people have a misconception about. The reality is that generally when you open a new card, your credit score will drop 5 to 15 points, which is very small immediately. And then within 3 to 6 months, you'll see that go away. And as long as you are paying your bill on time in full every month, then you'll see your credit score actually rise after about 6 months. You shouldn't worry about opening new cards. It's actually going to really help you in the mid to long run. And if you're an organized person who's not going to lose your cards and forget that there's an annual membership fee that's due after a year and you have to decide what to do then yes, the more cards you can open, the more points you'll earn for the average person.
That makes sense.
But a lot of people just don't want to think about that. So they'd rather just maybe have 2 or 3 cards that they can open and hold for the long term.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, because, then it's, I don't know when the decision point comes either. It's if you've got a card that has a high annual fee or something. Because like I had an American Airlines card. It was like 200,000 points or something if I put 10,000 on it in the first 6 months or something. I don't remember exactly. But then it had an annual fee of $680. But it had a lot of good perks like the airport lounges and lots of other things. So it almost weighed out in the end, like the $680 a year.
Yeah.
But then when it came around to the annual, I was like, gosh, okay, do I just pay this and stay loyal to this card, or like the Venture X card had a great deal. So it's like, maybe I sign up for the Venture X card now. And I guess my question around that is, and I've heard different things, but can you like downgrade these cards that you have these annual fees on? Is that like the hack with that? Like, how do you manage that part? Yeah.
So when it comes to the annual fees, first of all, not all cards have annual fees, and it's not necessary to pay annual fees if you want to earn points. That's a kind of a sticking point for some people, but a lot of the best cards for signing, just to sign up and get a big bonus and to keep because of all the benefits that they offer, do have annual fees of starting at around $100. And like you said, it could go up to $500, $700 a year. So when the annual fee comes due, you have basically three options. Okay. And I think, people oftentimes face that dilemma that you're talking about, but they don't realize that they actually have these options. The first is that you can ask your bank to either A, waive the annual fee for another year, or
really?
give you a customer retention offer.
Oh.
And different banks in different scenarios, depending on how valuable of a customer you are to them, will often do that. So it's this adage of don't ask, don't get. So most people don't realize that. And the retention offers that they give you, and in some cases could be like a second bonus, especially on really premium cards like an Amex Platinum card. They will often give 30, 40, 50,000 points just for paying and holding the card for another year.
Amazing. So you call it a retention bonus when you call them and ask? Is that
so? The way that you would do it is sometimes you can do it over chat. Sometimes you can do it. Usually you have to do it over a call, but you do not call and you do not speak to an automated system and say, I want to cancel, because then sometimes they might automatically just cancel your card and then, sorry, you don't get your retention bonus. You say, I'm unsure whether I want to continue to pay the annual fee on this card because I'm not sure I can justify it. I wanted to see, are there any retention offers on this card? And then the representative will give you a long spiel about these are all the benefits and why it's great. And you can say, yeah, I know all the benefits, but I still don't think that it's worthwhile for me to keep paying this big annual fee. Do you have any offers? And then they might give you an offer and you listen and you're like, I don't think that's great. But regardless, it's always good to ask, do you have any other offers? And sometimes they'll give you an even better offer after that. So that's generally option one. I love that. If you see that there are continued perks to having the card. Option two is you can oftentimes downgrade a card to one with a lesser or no annual fee, depending on which bank and which card you're starting with. And the benefit of that is that it maintains your credit history for that account, especially if you're someone who's new to credit or you don't have many cards. That can be important in terms of maintaining and growing your credit score. For someone who already has a lot of cards and for just mental free space or strategic reasons, you want to get rid of a card, it's really not a big deal to cancel. It doesn't really have much of an impact, and it's not something to really fret about. I cancel cards all the time for different reasons, but it's totally reasonable to just say, I don't want to have this mental overhead hanging on top of me. But if you can at least bring yourself to downgrade the card instead of canceling it, for the average person, that's generally going to be better.
Managing a private practice can be challenging. There are obstacles at every turn, from navigating the credentialing process to managing finances to finding new clients. That's where Alma can help. Alma is on a mission to simplify access to mental health care by focusing first and foremost on supporting clinicians. How? For starters, Alma makes it easy and financially rewarding to accept insurance and get credentialed within 45 days and access enhanced reimbursement rates with major payers. Alma handles all the paperwork from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. Members also get access to HIPAA-compliant EHR tools like intake forms, progress notes, and treatment planners, plus administrative support. So you could spend less time on paperwork and more time delivering great mental health care. Visit helloalma.com/Kim to learn more. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get started. Yeah, because I've heard, I don't know if it's true, I've just heard, like, if you cancel a card, it could, cause you credit score issues. I don't know if that's true. And for example, I did cancel like an Amazon card. Like I had an Amazon, I don't remember what it was, but get points for Amazon. And then I canceled it because I was like, okay, I don't want to pay the fee. I want to go to this other card. And then I applied like 6 months later or something for another different Amazon type card. And they were like, no, you can't because you canceled your Amazon card. So they like literally wouldn't let me back into the Amazon card network. I haven't tried it again. I don't know if there's like a wait period. So that happened. So I don't know like the strategy around like canceling. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Is it like last resort?
So if you are going to cancel, I would say do not cancel within 12 months of opening the card because banks don't like that. You should ideally wait for at least 12 months. And if there's an annual fee, wait for that annual fee to post. And then usually within 30 days, if you end up downgrading the card or canceling the card, then the bank will refund that fee. So you don't have to worry about it, but it shows that you're not like, it makes you look like a better customer to the bank. And then a lot of banks, a lot of cards do have various like application rules. And that's probably what happened to you is that with that Chase Amazon card, there would be a limit on how soon after you got a bonus on that card before they'll approve you for a new card. So it could be 24 months, 48 months. Each card, each bank has different rules.
Gotcha. Okay. Good advice. Yeah, I'm really bad with the details. Like in my mind, in a perfect world, I'd have a spreadsheet with this credit card gives me this many points for this type of transaction. I would keep something like that, but I'm not that organized.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be that complicated. Like I don't push like most of our clients to open lots of cards and overwhelm themselves, especially if you're a couple or you're doing it like as a family. Then, each person opening 2 or 3 cards over the course of 12 months and you're traveling together can get you a really awesome trip worth easily $10,000, $20,000 of luxury travel.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay. With all that being said, I'm hearing you say like it's really individualized for what your personal goals are. Do you have a favorite card that if somebody's just like starting out that you would usually recommend, or is it really specific to their goals?
So, let's speak to your audience. Is your audience largely nomadic, or is that the dream, the goal that a lot of them have?
I think it's a mixture of both. It's people that are already doing it and then other people that are like really wanting to do it. So
okay,
I think
got it.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'd say, and if you're looking to just get one card and hold that card, I like you mentioned it before, the Capital One Venture X card.
Yeah.
The great thing about that card is it gives you 2 points per dollar on every purchase. And those points are going to be minimum worth 2% of like cash back toward travel. But what most people don't realize is that you can transfer those points to various airline and hotel partners and get many more times value out of them. So it's nice because it's like bare minimum going to give you 2% toward all travel pretty much. And it works just like a statement credit. So you can just charge a flight and then wipe it off your statement where 1 point is going to be worth 1 cent. It's good from an simplified earning perspective for people who like to travel. And then it has no foreign transaction fees for people who want to be abroad and not have to constantly pay a markup for every expense that they have. And then on top of that, it has great perks. So it gives you lounge access and something called Priority Pass, which is a network of 1,600 lounges around the world that can be a big cost savings and comfort and convenience when you're traveling pretty much anywhere to hop into a lounge, get a free meal, drink, potentially quieter nook away from the chaos of an airport, especially if you've got a connection or you just want to get to your airport early and avoid like chaos and last minute rush. So it can really pay for itself that way. They're two different cards with similar names that are worth considering. One is the Venture Rewards card, which is a $95 annual fee, but it gives you 10,000 points, which is worth $100 toward travel every year that you pay that fee. So it's basically like Capital One is paying you $5 a year just to keep the card. And then there's the Venture X, which has a $395 annual fee, but it gives you a $300 travel credit toward like flights, hotels, car rentals every year. So you can say it's like really a net $95 annual fee, but that one is the one that comes with all the lounge access perks. And both of them have the same sign-up bonus of 75,000 points. So it's a solid sign-up bonus, which will be worth minimum $750. And then if you're smart about how you transfer your points, it could easily be worth $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 in luxury travel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that card. And the priority pass. I love an airport lounge.
Yeah.
It's like
really
super
nice.
important to me. I love that card. Okay. So that's great advice. Yeah, they have a friends referral thing. And I did like a reel, like an Instagram reel. And I was like in a lounge sipping a drink or whatever. And I was like, hey, here's my referral code for this. And I had 100 people hit that referral code. But
wow,
yeah. And I found out later that they only let you have $100,000 a year or 100,000 points a year. So it was like, it's 25,000 per sign up. And I'm like, okay, so all these other people, I don't know. I didn't get rewards for it, but it was like, that's pretty cool.
The bank got rewarded.
Yeah.
They're happy with that. But yeah, there's a cap on how many referral points you can earn.
I was like, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for all those tips. I'm wondering if you could tell us what was your hack process for that honeymoon that you went on?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
So first of all, being that I'm based in India, the Maldives is very close. So I didn't really have to worry much about the flights. It's not like there'd be any kind of lie flat business class between India and the Maldives anyways, because it's like a 2-hour flight. So that took a lot of work out of it. So it was more just about the destination for us and then getting from the capital to the destination. So we stayed at Le Méridien, Maldives, which is a Marriott property. Almost all of the resorts in the Maldives are unique in that they are private island resorts. So there'll be a little speck in the ocean, and that will be occupied and owned or leased by a single resort. So if you want to feel like you're just in the middle of nothing, surrounded by blue, and you can walk around the island that you're staying on in 5 or 10 minutes, then the Maldives is the best place for you.
Amazing.
And so we stayed there, and the hack was pretty simple. I opened one single credit card, which at the time the card still exists. It's even better now. Oftentimes it's a Amex Marriott card, and the sign-up bonus at the time was like 100,000 points, and it was a newish opened resort, and the points rate per night was like 30-ish thousand points per night. Marriott points per night, which is like frankly like less than a lot of like Courtyards by Marriott or basic Marriotts in the US. And Marriott gives you your 5th night free when you use points. And so we stayed for 6 nights, and pretty much almost all the 6 nights were just covered by one sign-up bonus. And the cash rate for those rooms were like $700 to $1,000 a night. And that was pretty much just covered by one credit card. And then the only other big expenses. So when you go to the Maldives, generally you need to take some kind of like domestic transfer from the capital where you fly into to where you're staying. And that's either going to be a seaplane or a local flight to an actual landing strip, little airport, or a speedboat ride. In our case, we took a seaplane.
Oh, nice.
And the seaplanes, even if you're booking with points, the seaplanes can still be quite expensive. So that's something to keep in mind. And the other thing that can be quite expensive is the food and activities, because these are luxury resorts where you are held captive and they can gouge you, but also it's pretty justified in the sense that these are specks in the middle of the ocean. So it's very expensive for them to get food and materials delivered to them. So all of that additional expense was covered by another card that was basically just like a cashback card. So we could say that pretty much our entire honeymoon costing, let's say $7,000 all in, was covered by about 2 credit cards.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay, Marriott Rewards card. Yeah, I got hooked into a Hilton Rewards card. I'm not that thrilled with it, so I've been wondering about a Marriott Rewards. Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be really dependent on each person. I'm not loyal to any program. I dabble in all of them. Whoever will give me the most points and the most perks. Get great deals with Hilton, great deals with Marriott, Hyatt, etc. So I like to chase them all.
I love it. I keep telling myself I'm going to get way more into it and get really good at it. Thank you so much for these tips. It's been amazing. Could you tell us about Hack My Honeymoon and what all you offer in case somebody wanted to work with you to plan a trip or to learn more even about the credit card hacking stuff?
Yeah, I think you were just getting at like the root challenge or pain point that we're trying to address, which is just like the overwhelm that comes to us. It seems like you've been doing it for a long time, but you're still overwhelmed by it. And there's so many different loyalty programs. It can be so confusing how the credit cards work. And frankly, they're designed in a way that's meant to be confusing, because if they were very simple, then the banks would lose money. Yeah. And it can just be frustrating and overwhelming and cause most people to just say, I don't want to bother with this, or I'll just have one credit card. My cashback card gives me 1%, 2% everywhere, and I don't think about it at all. So we want to address the pain, the challenge. And I had that same challenge when I was starting out. It was like so overwhelming. Yeah. And I made so many mistakes along the way with opening cards and managing cards and using the points that I beat myself up a lot. But with lots of trial and error over the past 10 years, I've been able to learn what works and what doesn't work. So what we do is we basically hold your hand and more or less take all the guesswork out of it for you and essentially do it all for you. You don't really have to know what you're doing. We'll tell you exactly. It's like cheating on an exam.
I love that.
We'll give you the cheat sheet or just take the test for you. Yeah. That starts with just helping you to understand what your travel goals are, helping you to figure out what kinds of destinations or experiences are a right fit for you, whether you're a couple going on a honeymoon or you're a therapist based in the US who wants to spend more time abroad. And based on all of that, as well as your financial situation, how much you can spend, what your credit currently is, what cards you already have opened, we will then put into place a points earning strategy, which is usually going to be signing up for a few cards over the course of a few months to earn the most points toward the travel goal that you have. And then once you've earned the points, we will do all of the research to put together the ideal itinerary for you. And unlike using cash, when you have to use points and get good value from those points, it's not as simple as saying, I want to go here on this date and I just pay cash to do it. There's, especially with flights and business class flights, there's not a whole lot of availability, and it can be quite opaque as to how you find what's going to be a good fit for you. So we'll put together the whole itinerary and then we'll book it for you.
Oh, nice.
Then once those annual fees come due on your card, we will help you to avoid the annual fees in a way that protects your credit.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Yeah. Nice. Okay. You're going to be hearing from me later.
Awesome. Yeah. So
That's so cool.
we're
So how do
there.
they
We're
reach
there with
you?
our clients along the way. Yeah. So best would be on our website,
Okay.
hackmyhoneymoon.com. And otherwise, I'm on social media and pretty much every platform, pretty much posting a video every day explaining some kind of travel hack. And my handle is at Rosenberg, like my last name, Rosenberg.
E.H. Rosenberg. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. I'm going to go follow you right after this.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know this is going to be so helpful for the listeners to figure out this hacking thing because it saves so much money.
Yeah.
I just booked it was ridiculous, but I had 50,000 points left on an American card. And I had to fly, I'm going to have to fly down to Fort Lauderdale and then back, but I'm going to have to do layovers. And basically for 50,000, I just booked them all first class and I got the lounges and everything. And I was like, why not? I don't know. I have 50,000 left on my, and it was exactly 50,000.
Yeah.
It's great. But anyway, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you coming. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out. And of course, all the information will be down in the show notes if you guys want to work with Elliot to do this travel hacking. I love that concept that you'll do it for them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Kim.
you so much. Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.